What we did was we went to Norway and basically went where the animators had gone sort of 10 years previously. So we did a sort of similar tour and went to the sort of locations and sort of places that they visited when they were getting their inspiration. So we kind of, so rather than copying what the animators did, we kind of deliberately went back to their source material as well and sort of found a way of realizing that. And obviously, animation has obviously a much bigger budget in terms of what you can draw is what you can build sort of thing, whereas obviously when you're actually physically building something there are limitations, and obviously you've got to fit inside a theater and stuff. So one had to kind of restrain some of the visuals from the movie, but you still want to produce a exciting looking large scale show. We were very lucky because, we were really lucky because it was just before COVID. We did it initially. And I think in a post-COVID world, I don't think there would have been the ambition or the resources or the finances for it, sort of thing. But I think at that stage, Disney were very keen to kind of like make as big a show as they could, sort of thing. So we were very lucky in that respect because there were limitations, there were restrictions, obviously, but it was as big a budget as I've ever worked with and stuff like that. And the ambition for it, and obviously, they knew they had this very important IP, and they wanted to make sure that they delivered. Disney as a company delivered something as well as something that we were happy with. Yeah, I think in terms of inspiration, nothing beats if you can go to the location where something's set, because you just experience it in a different way from just looking at books. Obviously when I started, you look at books, and obviously this day and age you just look at the internet, but it's sort of like there's one degree of information you can get from that sort of source, but on the other hand, actually to kind of experience the mountains and the fjords and all that sort of stuff, and see all that amazing architecture, which is both familiar because you kind of recognize it. The same way when you go to New York, you kind of go, I know what New York looks like because I've been force-fed images of it all your life, sort of thing. But nothing beats the energy of it, the city when you're there, and the scale of it, and the movement of it, and the dynamism of it. And it was the same, but obviously entirely different in Norway, because the stillness of it and the quietness of it, and the fact that there are less people live in Norway than live in London. I mean, the whole of the country than live in London, probably in my street in London, frankly. So you just get a very different sense of how a world feels and stuff. So that was a kind of key starting point. Then obviously having to then deliver the set pieces and the narrative as well.